Hello, I'm Jamila Musayeva, an international etiquette consultant, author of etiquette books and pre-recorded online courses. My books are now available for international shipment worldwide. You can also purchase not just hardcover copies but also ebooks directly on my website. I'll link it here as well in the description box below. You can also join my pre-recorded online courses that you can watch anytime, anywhere at your own pace. All of my courses will provide you with a certificate of completion. So before I get started with today's video, there are two announcements I wanted to make. Number one is that I see that my channel is growing very fast. I have already reached 1 million subscribers, so this is in celebration to that big milestone. But I also see that the number of views is not growing as much, and that's because most of you haven't hit the bell button, so you don't really get to see when I upload the video. And because I don't have a particular day when I upload, it's usually just the time when I can. And so in that case, a lot of you miss out on the new publishment. So make sure you hit the bell button so you don't miss out on the new videos that I upload. Also, make sure to watch this video until the very end, because at the end of the video, I always share the outfit of today's video. So now let's get started with a Q&A session in celebration of 1 million of you on my YouTube channel. But before I get started with the questions, I wanted to be upfront and honest about the fact that the reason I've selected some of these questions is not because they are better than the others, or some of these questions are more interesting than the others. Truth to be told, I went through all the questions and I love them all, and I wish I could answer them all, but if I were to answer them, this would be a movie, not a YouTube video. But the reason I've actually selected them is because they resonated mostly with my current state of mind, emotional state, and these questions will allow me to better feel myself at the moment. So I often find that when I'm answering the questions, I'm actually learning a lot by myself rather than letting you know about me. In a way, it's like a self-talk. It's like talking to a therapist, that I'm able to pour my heart and soul and mind and thoughts to you in the process of sharing my answers. So this is very therapeutical for me, and I will be answering these questions because they most likely resonated with my current state. With that being said, I will take my phone and first answer questions from Instagram. And I have screenshot some of those so I wouldn't forget. Your name will be written down below so you can also see whose question I'm answering. Okay, so first question is by Mark Diaz Machado. And the question is, what changed in you after being a mother? And the reason I think this question really resonated with me at this point in my life is because of the incident that occurred recently with me when I fell off the horse and my daughter was there with me. A lot of things just like a flash went in front of my eyes, and I really collected myself, and I think the strength that I found in me as a mother, it's a different level of strength. I think if she weren't there, I would have probably let myself go and I would have cried my eyes out and I've just been a mess. But seeing her there and understanding that I have to collect myself and gather myself and put myself together for sake of her made me realize that being a mother has taught me a lot of things. First and foremost, it has taught me what unconditional love truly is, how you love a person for simply just being there. But also the other important things that motherhood has taught me is that the amount of strength that you find in yourself when you're a mother, it is undescribable. You can't find that strength in you otherwise. It kind of feels like you have a bigger purpose, or there's a bigger human that needs you than you. So if you're someone who is so used to doing everything for yourself, you find something bigger and stronger than you that makes you wake up in the morning and want to do more and want to achieve more so that you can do it for them. So definitely strength and resilience, I would say, is what motherhood has given me, or those traits might have been in me, but they were never this strong as I find it now in me. And also I also realized that, perhaps if before there were things that I would let go if they were concerned with me, if I would just let things slide, so to speak, I will never let them slide for my kids. I will stand up and do anything for them, and I will show it in my example to them that you can never let anyone talk to you like that, push your boundaries, not love you in the way that you deserve. I think being a mother has taught me how I have to be a better human so that they can learn from me through an example rather than me preaching them of how to be a good person. So the second question is from Maria Casiel. And it is, what do you think is the hardest part of starting a new business? As a person who had a business, who runs her own brand, so to speak. I'm in charge of my YouTube channel, Jamila Musayeva brand, of my books, online courses, Patreon community. I do master classes, workshops, meet and greets. So I'm handling my brand business, so to speak. The hardest part of doing all of that was actually getting started. It's as simple as that. It's as cliche as that. But nothing throughout these years of me having YouTube, having written the books and having published books and done meet and greets, nothing has been more nerve-wracking than just getting started. I found all kinds of excuses as to I will never be able to do that. I don't have this, I don't have that. Where am I going to get the videographer? What am I going to shoot about? Or how I'm going to start writing a book, how I'm going to get it published. So all these questions were lingering in my mind, and I didn't have an idea of how I'll get them to happen. But so I would have those excuses as anchors for allowing me not to start doing anything. And these excuses just rolled in from one day into another, until one day I remember I said this many times before, that I saw a quote that said one day or day one, and it's a quote that's made of four words, repetitive words, just made me realize how every single day I'm just like, yeah, one day I'm going to do this, one day I'm going to do this, and then one day I just decided, okay, today is that day one when I start to, write a book, find a publisher, get it self-published, do whatever I need to do in order to get the books out there. So the hardest part of anything, and I would say not just starting a business, even the hardest part of learning a language, the hardest part of, finding friends, the hardest part of doing anything in life, working out, is just doing it, is just starting it, is just putting yourself out there, is taking the first step. It's always the hardest part, but it definitely is the one that should not make you wait for that magical one day to happen. The third question is from a Twinkle Cower. I hope that I'm pronouncing the usernames correctly. How has life changed for you after becoming a famous YouTuber? It's interesting because I just asked this question from my videographer, who has been with me since day one, since the day I decided to start shooting videos, and he was very skeptical about what I was shooting about. So things have changed ever since. It's really interesting that I don't think that on a scope of personal life, like in general what is happening to me day to day, nothing has changed. I have always been the Jamila that I am, to my parents, to my family, to my kids, to just people around me, my friends, my acquaintance, everyone around. I'm just the same Jamila. I don't think I have a huge international fame here in my own country, because my videos are in English and most of my audience is from US, India, from Indonesia, from Philippines, UK, Canada. So I think like my popularity is not as big here internally as it is outside, so I don't feel it day to day. It's not like I'm a kind of a celebrity that people stop me, take pictures with. I don't have that yet. I also don't think that YouTube is really a big part of my life, though it has given me so many chances and opportunities in life to be able to reach out to people that I would have never ever been able to do, to reach out, to educate, to talk to them, to have an impact on their lives. So YouTube has really tremendously helped me in growing my brand, my identity, helped me to promote my books and my online courses and my Patreon. So, but it's part-time what I do, because I still consider myself an author. I still consider myself an educator in etiquette. So I do workshops, classes, master classes here in Azerbaijan and abroad. I do my meet and greets around the world, where I meet my followers, and we talk about etiquette and do workshops. I also have my pre-recorded online courses. And also have my Patreon. So I do think that I have this digital presence, but most of my work is in educator business, so to speak, and I still do what I'm doing, and I have done even before having a YouTube channel. So YouTube has just helped me to become more popular, or has become more recognizable around the world. But as such, it's still just part of what I do. It's not everything that I do. So I don't consider myself full-time YouTuber like a lot of big other YouTubers are. With that being said, I do think that having now become much bigger YouTuber than I thought I would ever be, I think it has also come with a lot of responsibility and this non-stop thought process that goes in my mind every single day as to what is the next video about, what do I write about, how do I inspire my audience, how do I educate them better, what other skills I can equip them with. So I don't have anyone who writes my content. I'm the only person that is in charge of writing the content, of drafting the videos. So it's just me and my videographer and our editor. So it's just the three of us on this team, and I think it has added just more responsibility to everyone on the team, because now we have to produce a video every week, which wasn't the case before. I would produce 2 videos a month. So now it's just more work and this never-ending desire to provide more value, to be more valuable and insightful and inspirational to my audience. So definitely more responsibility, but also a lot more opportunities that I should be very thankful for, to collaborate with bigger brands, with being invited to very different events around the world as a speaker, for being invited to podcasts and TV shows. So obviously that has given me more opportunities as well. So I'm going to read 4th question from Instagram. I'm going to answer more questions from YouTube because proportionally there were more questions on YouTube rather than Instagram. So this is the last question from an Instagram follower, Risha Matthias. I hope that I am pronouncing it correctly. She asked me, any specific reason why flowers are so close to you? There was no one really out there that ever asked me a question like that. If you've been following me for a while now on YouTube or Instagram, you know that I love flowers, that I always have flower arrangements at my table when I'm doing these videos. I always love to match the flowers to my outfit or try, because that brings me a lot of joy. I took some floral arrangement classes recently. As a part of etiquette training, we also teach about flower arrangements at the table. So it was something that I was loved and enjoyed, but no one really asked me as to why I thought flowers are so close to me. And in the morning when I was reading this question and thinking about how and why is it so important to me, how come it became so important to me, and I actually realized one important thing about myself is that when I look at flowers, I get so much joy, so much enjoyment from them, knowing that they will not last too long, knowing that I'll have to throw them away in few days, knowing that I have to care and tend to them, and the only thing they do is bring joy to my eyes, to my emotional state, to my mind while I'm working, or just when I pass by, look at them, they just bring me so much excitement. And this made me realize that I think flowers in a vase, fresh flowers, are representative of how everything in life is so temporary. And just because it's temporary, we should not steal the joy from that moment or from it. So, we understand that our beauty is temporary, that, we all age, and with age, things are going to happen, changes are going to happen to our body, to our hair, to our skin, but that doesn't mean we cannot still enjoy our body, enjoy our skin, enjoy ourselves. A happy relationship can be, lasting for 2-3 years. Maybe you don't see yourself with someone long term, but as long as you're happy in the moment, as long as you're enjoying that relationship while it lasts, why steal away your own joy from that temporary moment, thinking only long term? Because the only thing we have to understand in life is that the only rule that is constant, that is never going to change, is the change itself. The only constant in life is change. There was a quote like that, and it's so true. Everything changes, everything is temporary. The good days are temporary, the bad days are temporary, the beauty is temporary, your health, a lot of things in life are just temporary, and why not enjoy these things while we can and while they bring us joy? So I think flowers are representative of a temporary nature of life, and that you can still enjoy it even though it won't last forever. So now, as you can tell, I have my laptop in front of me because I'll be reading questions from YouTube community posts that I asked you last week to ask me questions in celebration of 1 million. So we have a question from Lady Bird Acres. She's from US. Love from the US. I love US too. Sending all my love and regards back from Baku. The message is long. It says, congratulations, Jamila, and I've been following your channel for 3 years, and I always knew this day would come for you. Thank you so much. The question is, What is the most meaningful thing a mentor has ever said or done for you? I know you told quotes dearly to your heart, and I wonder what personal relationship has impacted you in a way that you think about almost daily. So thank you for your question. I have spoken about this in a couple of my videos before. I had this Arabic teacher growing up. She was this really smart woman. She was more of a historian. She did most of her studies in Arab world and the Gulf, and she also read Quran, but she didn't read it in a religious context, but rather as a way to, read a book that is so precious to most people around the world. And so I loved her attitude in life in general, and I loved how open-minded and how forward-thinking she was. She was a lady in her 70s when I started taking classes with her, and she was not just an Arabic teacher to me, but she was more of a mentor, as we used to say it now. I see it now as a mentorship, and she was just a person who I deemed to be very important in my life because of the kindness and guidance and education I received from her, apart from just Arabic classes that we had together with her. So she was never married, and she never had kids, and at that time I never saw my grandmothers. They passed away. One paternal grandmother passed away before I was born, and my mom's mom died when I was about 4 or 5 years old. So I actually never really got a chance to get to know my grandmothers and talk to them and have their attitude or their vision on life. This woman, her name was Esmeralda, and she had a huge impact on the way I learned about the world and the way I learned about life in general. She never had any sort of boundaries in terms of the age gap that we had, and she would address topics that I couldn't talk to my parents about or my mom about, and she was the one that felt very comfortable talking about very different things with me. The reason I treasure that relationship so much is because her education was beyond classroom. Her education was beyond what she was paid to teach me, and to me that's true mentorship. That's a true teacher, someone who has a bigger impact on you than just the subject that they're teaching. And when I started my teaching career, I always tried to be that kind of a teacher to my students, that even when the school is over, when their grades do not depend on me, when they have nothing to, want to be around me, they have nothing to get from me, they would still seek my company, they would still want to keep in touch with me, and they'd still want to know my opinion and have me, at their celebrations, or just have me around them as a person because of the impact I would have on them. And mind you, when kids are young, they're so easily mendable and shapeable, and it's a very vulnerable yet a very good age to work with them and have a good impact on them. And so for me, I took her idea of teaching into my personal now teaching style, and I try to teach beyond classroom, is what my YouTube biography also says. It's education beyond classroom. It's educating me for life. I remember she would teach me things about how to save money, how to invest money. She would bring me world classic literature books that she said I had to read. She would then make me take notes on the books that I read over the summer. She would tell me, this is not the right kind of reading. I ask you questions and you already have forgotten what you read about. Take notes on what you're reading. She would make me, do a lot of self-work. So she would give me a text in Arabic, and she wouldn't give me any vocabulary words. She would hand me a dictionary and say, you can find those words in the vocabulary. So she made me do a lot of self-inspection, self-education by just being present and guiding me through. And another thing that what I found very sweet about her is that she would always bring some kind of a present for me, and it would be as small as a pen or an eraser or a candy box or a new notebook or a cup. And she really loved to shop in secondhand shops, so she'd always find some interesting vintage scarf or something that she'd always bring over and gift it to me. And as a kid, I remember that, the value of what she gave me was so much more than the price of that. I valued everything, and I would look forward to her arrival. And so I think this is something that I would want to be able to do. She was very giving, not just in terms of her education, her knowledge, and her skills, but she was also very giving in her gifts and presents. And she was always very attentive to details. She noticed everything about me, about things that I wanted or liked or enjoyed, and that's what I try to do as a teacher as well. I always pay attention to what my students might potentially need from me, either as a knowledge or maybe as something that I can give them that probably will have some kind of an impact on their life. It's just these moments that are collected as a memory in my head, and that have created this, this respect for this person in general. She passed away. It was, I think, 2020. I wish that she were here and to see my success on YouTube. She would be really proud of me. But I also now think that she's my angel guardian, and that she's up in the sky and protecting me and guiding me, and I'm sure she'll be very proud of what I've achieved. So the next question is from Jambi751. Hello Jamila, congratulations on your achievement. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your educational videos that have enriched the lives of many. Thank you for your kind words. For my question, may I please ask, what are the 3 biggest lessons that you have learned over the past 5 years? Interestingly, Jambi, I've actually done a video prior to my injury about 5 important life lessons that I've learned, and I decided to postpone that video and will be posting it perhaps next week. But to answer your question, which I always love to reflect upon important life lessons that I've learned over the course of a particular period in my life, and perhaps over the last 5 years, the biggest lessons I've realized is that you cannot change global things that are happening in life. You can't affect how unfair in many cases, in many ways, life is, if we're being very honest and very real with ourselves, on a smaller scale, on bigger scale. But understanding that is important, being real with that is important. With that being said, you don't have to have any expectations on anyone or anything, and really use yourself as the only anchor in your life. Oftentimes we expect things from our parents as children, we expect things from our teachers, we expect things from our boss, we expect things from our employees, we expect things from people around us, our family, friends, acquaintance. But reality is that when faced with a challenge, when faced with something important in your life, you're most likely are going to be left alone on your own. It's a vain thing to expect things from people. You might do things out of your heart and hope for the best, that people will appreciate it and be kind in return, but you shouldn't really expect it, because when you do things, you do it because that's who you are, not because you're doing it because you expect them to act a certain way in return. I realized not to have any expectations and to really be my own savior, be my own cheerleader, be my own protector, be my own mentor, be my own everything. Because at the end of the day, life shows you that you'll be left with your own on many, many instances. There are times when your parents can't be there to help you. There are times when your friends cannot be there to help you. So always be dependent on yourself and don't expect anything from people. With that being said, I also learned that you really have to put yourself out there to really go and try to get and chase your dreams and chase your goals and your wishes. So sitting and waiting for justice to be delivered, for justice to be handed to you, it can take all your life until that justice is restored. So what you have to do is really take the decision in your own hands and act upon it. The second biggest lesson I have learned in life is the difference between a wish and a goal. That's something I never really distinguished much, because I thought it was the same thing. But I realized a wish is just a desire to want. You can want to want something. You really like wanting a car, but it's not a goal. A goal is when you will have that car. When you have that car, that's the goal. So there is one thing to want to have a car, another thing is to want and have a car. So goal is about that, and distinguishing the two will really help you identify what are things that you're really having, you're really aiming to have, that you're really aiming to work hard for. So, you might be wanting something that your friend wants just because they want it, you want it too. It's like the crowd thinking. A lot of things happen like that in marketing, in luxury branding and companies, because everyone is having it, I want it too. But the goal is something that you want, regardless if others want it or not. And that's really important. When you identify the two, the difference between the two, you'll be able to be more honest with yourself and know what is it that you're willing to work hard for, give up on, or rather never give up on. So that's important. That was my second biggest life lesson that I have learned. And the third life lesson that I have learned perhaps is just about the fact that whatever character you have, who you are as a person, is going to determine the quality of your life. It's your character, not your looks, not your physical appearance, not always the family you're coming from and your education, but what is it, your character, that is going to determine the quality and the trajectory of your life. If you are someone who is persistent, if you are someone who's a go-getter, if you're someone who's determined, if you're someone who's hardworking, you're always going to be steps ahead from someone who started off perhaps higher than you in a social strata, higher than you in their looks, better than you in opportunities they had in the beginning. Because when you get to see life and experiences of other people and their life path, you realize, there were days when these people were so much better than the other, and what happened? Like, how come this other person came and surpassed them in so many ways? And you realize that that person had a lot in their character that lacked in the person that was lagging behind. Maybe they were too dependent on their good looks, maybe they were too dependent on their family, maybe they were too dependent on their education they had, because formal education is very different from self-education. The formal education will get you the work, perhaps, but it's then your self-education, your character, that will get you your career. And that's a very big difference. So that would be my third life lesson learned. The next question is from Princess Enya, and she says, "Congratulations, Jamila. And my question is, what you envisioned your life to look like as a little girl, and if it tallies with your present life?" Thank you so much for your question. And to answer that, yes, it does in many, many ways. There are things that I thought differently, but now looking back, I realized they had to happen in order to bring me to where I am right now. It's sort of, they say that how the dots connect when you look back. So they connect in the present, they give you a frame, and then when you look back, you understand how these little dots came about together to create that image. I have a lot bigger dreams that I aspire to achieve, that I aspire to make true. So I'm not yet there, but I think a lot of it is already true for me. And I do remember, I was talking to my mom the other day about it, how what I'm doing right now is very much what I used to do as a child. I would think of an imaginary camera, and I would either be a hostess at a hotel, or I'd be a tour guide in a museum. So I'd switch up my roles every time, but I would be in front of the camera explaining and educating people about something. I think that desire to educate has always been in me. I loved helping other classmates in class to understand something. I would help them in biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, all subjects. There wasn't a particular subject that I liked explaining the most. I just loved the process of learning something, digesting it, and then making it more understandable and making it easier for the person that I'm trying to teach it with. So I would always digest it and then chew it into little pieces and then try to bring them in these little portions of information. So I think my talent is just being able to analyze things, make them easier, and then deliver them. And I guess I liked being on camera. I actually was, as a child, I did some TV presentation. So there was a local TV channel that would have kids over that would learn the scripts by heart, and then they would perform them, would either be a presenter of someone else, like of a TV show, or would, announce the weather or things like that. So I used to do that too, and I just loved being on stage. I remember I did a belly dancing once when I was like 6 years old on stage. I just loved being on stage or being at the center of attention in one way or another, either in camera or as a performer. I loved dancing growing up, but I was never allowed to attend any, not allowed, but it wasn't something that was ever viewed as a career path in my culture. And so my dad was quite strict when I was growing up, so I didn't attend any dance classes. And I guess I always thought I would be like a performer of some kind. Though I'm not really a performer, I can't call myself a performer on YouTube, but in a way I am educating and performing on camera. And of course my bigger dream is to do something like a documentary on etiquette, or some movie maybe one day if I'm ever reached out by Hollywood. So something bigger is on my agenda for sure. But for now, I'm really thankful and I'm really blessed to have what I have. And I think universe has showed me that I'm at the right place right now in my age and time. I need to be here, working from home, being around my kids, not missing out on their childhood, while still being able to do what I love. And when the time comes, I hope that I'll be where I have always wished to be. Next question is from Trisha100. She asked me a lot of different questions, but I am going to answer this one. What have you learned about yourself from past relationships, romantic and or non-romantic? Also, I love your videos and closing style. Thank you so much, Trisha, for your kind words. Interesting question, because I never really answered anything similar to this. I think I haven't had any romantic relationships prior to being married, so I can't really speak much about romantic relationships. I had a lot of guy friends in college. I loved them all, they loved me, but it was never romantic. It was more of a friendly relationship. So I have a lot of non-romantic relationships with guys and girls that I can talk from. The experience of having these relationships has taught me a lot of things about myself, and the biggest lesson I've learned about myself in all of that is that I'm a very patient person, and that I can tolerate a lot of things until I can't. I don't really do a lot of conflicts on a daily basis. I will not try to, change the person. I'm not very forceful in relationships, but there's a boiling point that I have, and once I reach that boiling point, I just walk away. I've been judged by some others for saying that, I let people off without giving them closure, without, talking to them, and without explaining what happened. But I don't think every person deserves a closure, in a way that not everyone deserves the energy that we need to spend on getting that closure. Sometimes it's just best to save your own energy and save yourself from confronting or having this conflict with a person in order to justify your need to leave this relationship. I do think that, if a person's attentive enough, they can notice changes in you and changes in the relationship dynamic, and before it reaches that hitting point, they can try to talk to you and try to, ask what's wrong. And I also realized another thing that is important, and I have noted this for myself, that if a person does something once, it could be a coincidence. But if a person does it twice or 3 times, it's a pattern. It's never going to change. So you can forgive people once, but you cannot forgiving them and expecting that they will change, or expecting that this pattern will never happen again. Because if they did it once, they'll do it again. Or they did it twice, they'll do it again. I am for second chances, but only if the mistake was done once. But if this mistake was done in and out, or over the course of many years, that's never going to change. Or not a mistake, but a pattern of behavior. And again, there is no right or wrong. We're all, no one is ideal. There are traits that I personally can't take, and there are traits I'm okay with. Same goes for everyone. Some people are okay with stingy people, but they can't tolerate, someone who is competitive. That's okay with them if someone is stingy. For me, I hate stingy people. I can't stand them. And if someone is stingy, most likely I'm not going to be spending much time with them. I'm okay with competitive people. I don't like people that don't have their own character, that are not strong in character, that are very fluid and change according to other people all the time. Because I never know what their true face looks like. Because they can be everything but nothing. For me, I would rather have 3 enemies and 2 friends rather than have 5 friends and no one will really know my face. I'm very honest and very raw. I'm very kind and loving if people are close to me. And I expect, in a way, wrongly, the same from others, which I've learned not to expect anymore, and just keep the same kind of people that vibe with me, that have the same values as me around me, and those that don't, keep them away and not expect anyone to change for me. So that's something I've learned in friendly relationships. I've actually gotten a lot of questions about how I've become an etiquette consultant, what triggered my interest in etiquette, what I studied in childhood that made me interested in etiquette, a lot about my etiquette consultant journey. And I've actually done a video about that on my YouTube channel that I published a year ago or a few months ago. So make sure to check out that YouTube video, because it's an extensive video just about my journey, and I've answered all the questions that you might have about etiquette, becoming an etiquette consultant. So make sure to watch that video and it will answer all your questions. Next question is by Rachel Zik 834. She says, congratulations Jamila on your 1 million subscribers. I love your channel. Thank you so much, Rachel. My question is there a current resource available that summarizes etiquette by country? And if not, would you consider doing this? It'd be so interesting. Rachel, you just read my mind. Actually, one of my biggest dreams or wishes or goals, not a wish, is to actually make a documentary about etiquette around the world. So I would want to do a documentary series about different cultures and different etiquette, starting from France, finishing up somewhere in Middle East, including Azerbaijan as well. Because I find it's going to be not only entertaining in terms of obviously the beautiful views and travel series that's going to be part of it, but also really educating, because it's going to show us how other people live and how different they are and how different is beautiful. We don't all have to look the same, be the same, act the same in order to be liked or recognized. It's beautiful that we're all so different, and so beautiful that we are able to bring that difference to the world and show that diversity. So in celebration of diversity and celebration of cultures and traditions, I would love to do a documentary series, and if anyone who's watching this video in any way wants to help me get me into contact with someone who is willing to produce this and who is willing to get on board with me in producing this, I would love to do it one day. Next question is from Mantis Divinatio, and it's congrats. My question is how to find balance between etiquette and being relatable. So for example, Jennifer Lawrence is a super relatable to general public, but I find that her manners are lacking. On the other hand, some people with perfect etiquette sometimes come off as non-relatable, and so draws all a wall between us and the audience. So that is my question. Thank you. It's a very interesting question actually, because when I was reading it, I thought to myself, do I find Jennifer Lawrence relatable? I do find her funny, I find her entertaining, but at times I do find her a bit too much, and I don't find her relatable at all. I don't find her relatable to me. So I think what people usually confuse with the word relatable and being well-mannered is that they think well-mannered is this non-authentic, like really stuff and upstuck person, and relatable is someone who can just like be obnoxious, and people find in a way that relatable. Unfortunately, I wouldn't want to hear that a lot of people would think that is relatable to them. I understand that, you know, in the modern world where etiquette is something that is not in fashion anymore, that people, you know, don't care what they say, don't care how they talk, don't care how they sit and stand. Maybe to a lot of people that might be relatable. But for me personally, if I were to take an example from Hollywood, I would say Anne Hathaway is relatable. She's funny, she's herself, she's raw, she's very sweet. But at the same time, I would never call her, you know, lacking manners or not being well-behaved. I think she maintains that balance between being authentic and being well-mannered. Natalie Portman is another example. I find her very well behaved, and she's very enchanting to me. So I think it depends on, you know, who's viewing that as relatable. And in today's world, my agenda in doing a YouTube channel as well, and being a public etiquette consultant, so to speak, is to show to people that etiquette is not being upstuck. It's not just about what you wear. It's not about the kind of music you listen to. It's not just only that. It's really just about being a kind, respectful person that is well behaved and knows when to behave and when to let it go. So it's really knowing that fine line and keeping that boundaries where needed without ever crossing them, overstepping them. So I think that's what my bigger agenda is with my presence on social media, is to break stereotypes about etiquette, as well as break stereotypes about what an elegant woman would look like. So the next question is from Georgina Kwok. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. So she wrote a very sweet message to congratulate me, and she asked me a lot of questions, but I'm going to answer only this one. If you had the power, what specific things would you change in the world to make it a better environment for your children to grow up in? To answer this, Georgina, I think as any mother or any parent would tell you, I think all we want is for our children to be in a safe, loving and kind environment. And I think safety and kindness go hand in hand. Without kindness, we cannot, create a safe environment. And without being in a safe environment, we cannot be kind to each other, because then our instincts of self-survival kick in and we don't care about others and we're just trying to make the best for ourselves. So it's just the human nature, it's just the animalistic nature that we cannot escape, unfortunately. But definitely, I really wish I could have this magic wand that would put kindness in every person's heart. Unfortunately, being a teacher, and not unfortunately that I'm a teacher, but unfortunately while I was a teacher in school, I could see how angry, hateful, violent, aggressive, and resentful kids can be at certain age. I would always think that kids are born really kind and that life makes them then like that. But I also see that sometimes as kids are so honest and raw, their amount of open aggression that they show to each other surpasses anything that adults would show to each other. And it's very hard on other children to take that in. So it's almost like they're in a jungle and trying to survive. School years can be very tough, and I have not been, I would say I've not really experienced that much as a child in school, but I've seen that a lot as a teacher in school. And then also being a social media persona, having this open profile, I've also come across a lot of negativity, a lot of hate from people on things that I don't think I even deserved it. Obviously, I would think, I'm making this video to educate you about dining experience, and here you are calling me flat-chested. Thank you for your opinion, but do I really need it? How is this relevant to me trying to teach you to have good manners at a table? But unfortunately, it's nothing that I can have power to change. But if I were to have it, I would try to make this world a more kind, understanding, and loving place. We're so quick to judge, we're so quick to hate, we're so quick to be resentful, and yet we cannot understand that the person might be going through, or it's not our business to put our nose into their work or their life, or try to tell them how to live their life, or judge them for who they are. I mean, I can't say I'm a saint and I'm not judging anyone. Of course I am, unfortunately, but I also never act upon that judgment. I can say something, laugh about it, and just move on. I will never hate the person, I will never resent the person, I will never write a opinion or comment or something to make it worse for them. I'll just have the opinion to myself. And I think that's what we have to learn to do as well. Not every opinion is welcomed, and not every opinion is necessary to be said out loud if you know that's going to hurt the other person. So I think definitely making the world a kinder place would be a joy. So for today's video, I opted to wear this really nice set from Mango. So it's a top and a skirt. The reason I opt for this kind of outfits lately is because I'm wearing a retainer and it's just so easy to slip it on, and I feel very comfortable in this set. I've actually worn this set to Abu Dhabi Book Fair, and I wore it with a robe on top because it has open sleeves, and I wanted to look more proper and decent for Abu Dhabi Book Fair. But it's a really nice summer fall set that you can wear with a jacket or without it for the summer. And for the shoes, I've opted for manual slippers from a brand that I truly love called Vivi. And what I love about it is that the slippers are just so comfortable. They have upgraded insoles and they're just so soft on your feet, as well as they provide an arch support, which is extremely important for me right now in order for me not to have any back pain. And I think they just look very nice and matchy with my set. And if you know me, if you've been following me for a while, I'm all about matching things. And I love the fact that these slippers can go with anything, white, black, any monochrome color dress in the summer, and they're just super comfortable on feet. And since I've been collaborating with Vivi, they have given me a discount code Jamila12 that you can use on your purchase in order to get 12% off. So now I'm going to select the 3 top winners of this contest of asking me questions. And again, these were the questions that resonated with me at this point. It's not because others were not better. They're all amazing questions. It's just these questions made me ponder the most. The 3rd place, so to speak, would be Jen B. She asked me 3 biggest lessons over the past 5 years. So Jen B, you are going to get access to my second or latest online course, The Art of Entertaining at Home, please leave your email down below so we can reach out to you and give you access to that course for 3 months. The next winner, Mark Diaz Machado, who asked me what changed in you after being a mother. You're going to get access to my first online course, Western Formal Dining Etiquette from A to Z, for 3 months. Again, please leave your email down below so we can access you and reach you, and give you access to the course. And the first winner, and I think people can already guess by the way I have reacted to this question, is Risha Matias, who asked me any specific reasons why flowers are so close to you. Risha, you are the winner of this Q&A session, and you're going to get 3 personally signed books from me shipped to your door. So make sure to email us at info@jamilamusayeva.com and say you're the winner and give us your details so we can ship the books to you. Thank you so much for all your questions. I truly enjoyed answering them. Thank you so much for your continuous support, for your love, for your feedback, for your comments. Thank you so much for choosing to watch my channel, to support it, to follow it, to subscribe to it, taking your time to write comments and opinions and feedbacks or sharing your insights and stories. I read all your comments. It really means a lot to me because I get to feel the kind of an impact that I'm able to make through my online presence. So it truly means a lot to me. If you want to support my work and if you want to learn more in depth about etiquette, you can get my books, you can join my pre-recorded online courses, and you can also become my patron on Patreon Etiquette Movie Club, where every month I publish etiquette analysis of different movies. So far I've done over 30 different movies, some of your favorite ones like Titanic, Devil Wears Prada, Breakfast at Tiffany's, The Intern, and so many more. And by joining it now, you'll access all those movies. And if you want to learn about my book recommendations or the books that I'm reading every month, you can join my Etiquette Book Club, where every month I publish analysis or summaries of the books that I've read, or more like all the important lessons that I have collected from that particular book. In any case, whatever you choose to support me with, it means a lot to me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!